在96个国家拥有上亿爱好者，老少皆宜，全球风靡。和而不同，球通世界。Heyball传递着友谊与和谐，让不同文化的人们在台球桌前找到了共鸣。接下来，我们将联合 ANOC、WCBS、WPA。在全球举办9大世界性赛事，推动Heyball进入2032年布里斯班奥运会，结束奥运会没有台球比赛项目的历史。触摸Heyball，爱上Heyball，在碰撞中拥抱欢乐，用热爱和执着创造台球运动无限未来。Heyball，开创台球新纪元。
中式八球国际大师赛，让我们共同期待。
一直在问，什么是国？它是一群人在一起的一个理由。20年，为什么坚持？有的决定像种子，一早就埋进心里。我73岁了，如果面对37岁时的自己，我会对他说：“你先成就他，他就会造就你。”如今转身才发现，年少时的诺言从来没有忘却，只是在等待实现。理想是不妥协的坚强，热爱就是共同的信仰。这不是跟任何人的较量，这是7384个日夜的梦想。不畏前路，更进一步，你准备好了吗？
好的，现场的各位观众，在稍后我们会有一个统一的大入场，在大入场之前，有我们的观众互动环节，有非常多的礼物在等待大家。我们也请工作人员邀请各位观众进入到 TV 台的看台座位区域，有非常多的礼物在等待各位观众。稍后我们的大入场也会从 TV 台经过，所以说我们邀请各位观众现在就可以入座我们的 TV 台的看台区域了。
百文台迷，高档羊毛皂一线赛事指定台名丁俊晖、奥沙利文、郑宇博、楚秉杰等不例外一线球星代言，以百文全球销量第一。百文台迷，高档羊毛皂一线赛事指定台名丁俊晖、奥沙利文、郑宇博、楚秉杰等不例外一线球星代言，以百文全球销量第一。
各位观众，欢迎来到利百文台泥乔氏杯第14届中式8球大师赛总决赛正赛第2阶段单败淘汰57到第60场比赛之前的赛前互动。好的，各位朋友们，接下来我们要为大家去发放属于你们的幸运礼物了。那么想要礼物的朋友们，双手可以挥一挥，让我们的摄像机注意到各位。好，首先我们将会送出由Free 威力所提供的礼物，威力释放你的威力。镜头请准备，3、2、1，请切换。好，恭喜2位幸运的观众啊，获得了由威力所提供的礼物。也给点时间，可以拿起手机记录下来。同样，我们的其他观众也可以准备好手机。接下来下一组，3、2、1。好，这2位朋友啊，恭喜获得由Free 威力所提供的礼物，释放你们的威力。好，准备下一组，3、2、1。镜头给到这2位穿白色衣服的朋友啊，恭喜获得由威力所提供的礼物。Free 威力释放你的威力。好，那接下来我们要送出由塔里克所提供的礼物了，准备好，3、2、1。好，恭喜我们这2位朋友获得了由塔里克所提供的礼物。极致打感发烧之选，就选塔里克。准备下一组，3、2、1。给到这2位朋友啊，恭喜，很幸运获得了由塔里克所提供的礼物，特别棒。继续准备好，我们下一组，3、2、1。给到这2位朋友啊，恭喜获得了由塔里克所提供的礼物，也请工作人员辛苦送上。塔里克极致打感发烧之选，我们继续寻找下一组，3、2、1。好，恭喜这2位朋友获得了由塔里克所提供的礼物啊！来，也给点时间记录下来。那继续，我们下一组礼物是由 TP 巧克粉所提供的。专业级巧克粉极致释放皮头性能，准备好，3、2、1，给到了这2位朋友，恭喜获得了由 TP 所提供的礼物，很幸运啊，也给点时间记录下来。那接下来我们要再找1位观众啊，来准备好，3、2、1，恭喜这1位观众啊，很幸运获得了由库洛克所提供的礼物。库洛克永不妥协。那接下来我们要为大家发放由乔氏所提供的伴手礼啦，我们也准备一下，来，也请我们大家挥挥手，给你们一点时间，把手机准备好。来，朋友们，由乔氏所提供的精美伴手礼，3、2、1，来，这2位朋友，恭喜你们，很幸运啊！也请工作人员辛苦为2位送上。再来找一组啊，来，3、2、1，给到这3位朋友啊，都很幸运啊，获得了由乔氏所提供的礼物，再次感谢各位。 10、9、8、7、6、5、4、3、2、1。
Joy Builders uniting the world, Libering Class and Joy Cup. 14 Heyball Masters Grand Finals will begin now.
这里是正在为您直播的利百威台泥乔氏杯第14届中式八球大师赛总决赛8进4单败淘汰赛上半场的比赛现场。
Welcome to the athletes and referees.
欢迎裁判员、运动员。3号台。
Table 3
将由一代天王来自中国的戴勇，
戴勇 from China
对阵准度太一来自中国的张太一，
张太一 from China
裁判员
Referee
徐景言，助理裁判
Assistant Referee
张毅、王婷婷。 7号台
Table 7
将由英国战神来自英国的加雷斯波茨
Gary Sports from Britain
对阵百步穿杨来自中国的张坤鹏
versus 张坤鹏 from China
裁判员
Referee
田明星，助理裁判
Assistant Referee
马立东、张娜。 9号台
Table 9
将由冷面战将来自中国的吴镇宇，
吴镇宇 from China
对阵江左麒麟来自中国的郑肖怀
versus 郑肖怀 from China
裁判员
Referee
佘真真，助理裁判
Assistant referee.
王鹏轩、宋明明。现在有请 T 位台。
Let's welcome Heyball TV.
将由小王子来自中国的沈申毅
沈申毅 from China.
对阵帝皇星来自中国的赵如亮。
versus 赵汝亮 from China.
裁判员
Referee.
张月秋，助理裁判
Assistant referee.
玉林、杜立新。
Brilliant competitions are about to be presented. Let's wait and see.
有请各位移步比赛神器，乔氏金腿球桌。在这里也提醒现场观众，在球员击球时，请不要随意走动。这里是正在中国秦皇岛奥体中心体育馆为您直播的利百文台泥乔氏杯第14届中式八球大师赛总决赛8进4单败淘汰上半场的比赛，让我们共同开启精彩比赛。
沈申毅你好，赵汝亮你好，请双方选手争夺开球选择权。给我口令，预备，3、2、1，开始。
An unbelievable array of matches this morning. It is crazy here on day 15. Welcome everyone back to the Libo Win and Joy Cup, the 14th edition of the Grandmasters Finals. We are live here in Qinhuangdao in the Hebei province in China. And what a match we have on the TV table. Two players who've shown some of the best form in the last few rounds of play. Shen Shenyi from China, and he goes up against Zhao Ruliang from China as well. Now, previous round was a race to 19. This is a race to 33 frames, divided into 2 sessions. We have the morning session now starting at 11 a.m. local time here in China. It's a 3-hour session we're playing to 2 p.m. And then the next session starting at 6 p.m. local time until the end. So I call it about 7 hours possibly. That's what you're looking at for this match, depending, of course, on the finish rate and the scoreline. There we have it, 8 players remaining. We go down to 4 after today's play. On the TV table, as I said, it is Shen Shenyi against Zhao Ruliang. Let's have a look at who's playing on the other tables. You've seen them walking in. On table 3, Dai Yong against Zhang Taiyi. Table 7, Gareth Potts against Zhang Kumpang. And on table 9, Wu Jianyu against Zheng Zhaohai. Now, Zheng Zhaohai is the player that defeated Yang Fan. That's Zhao Ruliang's coach. Yesterday on the TV table, 19-1, one of the biggest scorelines we've seen at this stage in the match. Now, this is single elimination all the way down to the final.
比赛开始，第一局，沈申毅开球。
Now, out of the 8 players still left, Gareth Potts is the last international player standing. We had Dennis Okolo as well, still in the tournament yesterday, but lost that match to Dai Yong, unfortunately. So Gareth, the last international player here. Now, Zhao Ruliang He is one of the most consistent players over the last, I'd say, 1 year or 2 years. Very consistent performances. He's won multiple of the Joy Master Station events. That's the smaller events held throughout the year. Quite a few runner-up positions as well. He's been runner-up in this tournament. The 12th edition, he lost to Chu Bingjie in 2024. He's also won this tournament, the one that was held during COVID. And when you've heard me announcing the scores, you've seen some huge score lines that he's been ahead because he's been that consistent here. He defeated Zhao Jianbo in the first round of this last 64, 17-4. He went through international player from Iran, Sina Velazedo, 19-6. And then yesterday, Hu Yihong, 19-14. That's the player that took out Niu Zhang in the previous round as well. Zhao Ruliang, just 24 years of age. Winner of the Chinese Billiards World Championship as well. And in that, defeated his opponent here today, Shen Sheni, with a scoreline of 41-28. Looking at that scoreline, it tells me that Joy aren't the only tournament that have these long races. This is a race to 33. The final will be a race to 39 frames, also split over 2 sessions. At the moment, all the players that are left are playing. Those matches are live on wpalive.tv. You can head over there and check that out. So only 3 outside tables in play on the TV table now. 4 matches only. They're using the multi-view feature there. You can actually have all 4 matches open on your screen at the same time. So enjoying every single match, every moment here at this tournament. And this is what we've come to expect from Zhao Ruliang, nickname the Emperor here in China. And this off his opponent's break, off his opponent's try break. First point on the board for Zhao Ruliang. He's 1-0 up, and that's a rack and run, our first one-visit clearance of the match. Now this is another player that when we did have the winner's break format was very dangerous. I have seen him make 6 consecutive break and runs on the TV table before. Most likely part of the reason why they've changed it to alternate break now here in this tournament, because that's what these players are capable of, and I think the standard was just going to get higher. Wasn't going to take long before we were seeing 10 and over consecutive break and runs. Now imagine in a race to 13 what that does. So here we go, Zhao Ruliang to break in the second frame. A lot of power in that. I don't see anything in straight away. And it's a dry break as well for him, so that'll mean Shen Sheni to the table. You see Zhao Ruliang also using a BK rush. It has to be the most popular breaking cue here in China at the moment amongst the top players. Now Shen Shini at the table, 21 years of age. He's part of Joy's dream team. So those are the sponsored players by Joy. Heavily seeded as well, coming very late into the tournament. Tianjin Superstation runner-up. Top 16 in both the previous events in Nanning. That was the last Masters event you'd have seen being streamed. So top 16 in the Division 1 and the Super Tour. Yeah, that was not the easiest starter on the table there. So he's left the open table back for Zhao Ruliang. Now Shen Shini's road to the stage in the tournament in the last 64 went through Meng Fan Yu 17-9, and then the big win against Chu Bingjie 19-13. Huge scoreline for a match like that. And then in his match last night, defeated Zhao Long 19-12. So both these players have been dominating their opponents, especially in such a class field of last 64.
10秒，延时。
At this point in the tournament, it is still very difficult to call a winner. The 8 players left. Such class. Look, the fact that Dai Yong is still there, he's always dangerous. We had him on the TV table. That was not his best performance, but he's gotten through, and he's a very experienced player. Out of everyone that's here, it's between Potts and him as to who has the most experience here. But very, very experienced, and he's up against Zhang Tai at the moment, and Tai already 2-0 up with 1 break and run, 1 rack and run. That is on table 3. Potts has a really tough match now against Zhang Kumpang. That's another player who's in devastating form, demolishing most of his opponents in this round. And then, of course, the player that we had on the TV table last night, Jing Zhaohai, 2-0 up on Wu Jinyu at the moment with 2 break and runs, 1 visit clearances, 1 break and run, and 1 rack and run. So I can see many of you want to watch Gareth Potts' match. That's on table 7, and as I said, you'll find that on wpalive.tv. So if you head over there, you'll see on the main page, it'll say day 10 live and upcoming, and the names are under the tables as well. So if you scroll on the next page, you'll actually see at table 7, Gareth Potts versus Zhang Kumpang. So this being a race to 33, and it is broken up into 2 sessions. Effectively, you're playing, it's like 2 race to 17s here. But the Chinese players at least no stranger to these long races. As I mentioned before, for the Chinese Billiard World Championship, the scoreline there was 41-28. And he is still on the 4 here to the center pocket. This is a great chance for Shen Chenyi in the second frame. We've seen a ball like that missed so many times. Just makes it look so easy. Taking this 5 now should leave him on the 1 to the center pocket. Still going to have to find a way to get the cue ball down to the side of the table. Yeah, there you see just a slight angle on the 1. Yeah, so once again, the race to 33, which this is, it is split into 2 sessions. We have the first session 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. here local time in China, so that's a 3-hour session. And then we have a 4-hour break, so the players can have a rest, eat something. I would say maybe a power nap, have a rest, and get ready again. Come back to the venue just before 6 p.m. local time, and then on again until the match ends. That's how it's going. Yeah, I don't think you could play a race to 33 in one sitting. That would be mad. Very nicely done there from Shen Chenyi. Gets his first point on the board, and judging by the applause, he might actually be the favorite here. Now having won the leg, it will be Shen Chenyi to break in the next frame as well. So Zhao Ruliang chance at the table, not able to convert it. Yeah, look, I can't call a winner here in this tournament yet. You just can't. Everyone here now, there's 8 players left, all great players of the game. Not a dry break this time, the 12 ball in, and you see the hand goes up to apologize for that. So the reason for the jump in race, or the length of the match, is because Usually this tournament is a double elimination. When we do get to the last 64, last 32 here. But this time they have made it a single elimination, which is why they've raised the length of the matches. I can understand that. You know, in a long race, the better player should come out on top. It's not a sprint, and luck can only get you so far. Good rolls can only get you so far. The better player on the day now, with 8 players left, let's have a look at the prize money. So if you lose now in this round, you still walk away with $21,700. If you win this match, guaranteed last 4, that's $43,000. Third, $86,000. Second, $217,000. And first prize, $724,000. So I think now you know why the race has become so long at this stage of the tournament. It is definitely set up for the better player to take away most amount of prize money here. I've had Shen Shini on the TV table before. I've also seen Zhao Liang on the TV table. Now, I've never quite seen Shen Shini in the form he's in this tournament. He just seems to be on another gear here, just slightly above the rest, especially the players who he's played against, and there he takes another one visit clearance, and that's a break and run for him. Our first break and run of the match. Shen Shini 2-1 up. Scores from the other tables. Table 3, Zhang Tai is already 3-1 up against Dai Yong, and Zhang Tai with 1 break and run, 2 rack and runs. Zhang Kumpang 2-0 up against Gareth Potts on table 7. Table 9, Zheng Zhaohai 3-0 up against Wu Zhenyu, and he's got 1 break and run, 2 rack and runs. That's also a dry break here from Zhao Liang, which means Shen Shini back to the table. And you know, at this level, the breaks become so important. It can easily be the difference and why we see the scoreline changing quickly in one of these players' favors. Another player who I don't see getting beaten is Zhang Tai. Been so solid throughout this tournament.
10秒。延时。
Problem ball here for Shen becomes that 12 sitting at the top right of the table on our screen. Could get to it from his next ball as long as he lands low on it. Now, do you stun to the left of the pink, or do you go off one cushion into the gap between 6 and 3 here? Yeah, finding the gap there. Played that well. If a little bit of a thicker kiss on the 3 ball and he was in big trouble there. As you can see, the slightest of angles here. Cue ball very close to the cush and the 12 just slightly off. Which means he can still move the cue ball down table without even forcing. This at the moment off the dry break from Zhao Ruliang. Those breaks already getting costly here. This is going to be 3rd point on the board and another 1 visit clearance in this match. And that Chen Sheni with a rack and run of Zhao Ruliang's dry break is now 3-1 up after 4 frames played here.
第5局，沈申毅开球。
4 frames played here at the moment. Scoreline 3-1 to Shen Sheni. This is a race to 33. Yes, you heard that right. 33. Shen Sheni to break in this 5th frame. 2 looks good. It's there. The 1 as well. Now at the moment, 4 frames played. 3-1 visit clearances. Got 1 break and run, 1 rack and run for Shen, and 1 rack and run for Zhao Ruliang. From looking at the scorelines of the other matches, during those matches, this is one of the first times I've seen Zhao Ruliang trailing in a match. He's always been in control. I was wondering there whether he's going to go into the 6 ball, leave the 10 the way it is, or then play it into the 10 like that. He's played a good shot to get the 10 out. Would have made the next shot much easier, but missed the 12 ball, unfortunately. By missing the 12
延时
on top of the 6 ball, which means problem for both these players at the moment here. Gonna say he definitely didn't want the 5 ball coming back and knocking the 12 free like that. Not only that, he's left a pot on the 10. He's taken his extension here because with the 5 and 6 being where they are, he's pretty much in control. And we're playing a shot like that. No real shot open here for Zhao Ruliang. Gonna be difficult to find a safe place with the cue ball also here. And that is true. If you do lose here in the last 8, you still do walk away with 21,000 US dollars, 21,700 to be exact. And as far as I know, we should still be getting the player breaks at every 8 frames played. That should stay the same. And I think when we do close in on the time for the intermission, that will be at 2 p.m. local time. I think we'll play that frame out. And then we'll have that break. It's a 4-hour break then, from 2 p.m. local time to 6 p.m. local time when we resume. I think they've allocated around 4 hours for that last session. It's not a timed match, so it'll finish when it finishes. But that is the allocation on the schedule. But usually at this level also, what I've noticed is they're going on an average of about 7 to 10 frames per hour. There have been times we've seen over 11 frames played in 1 hour. It all depends on the standard, the finishing rate. For example, if you look at table 3, in 34 minutes they've played 7 frames already. They're on their 8th frame in 34 minutes. And that match is between Zhang Tai and Dai Yong. Zhang Tai leading 4-3 against Dai Yong, table 3. Once again, it looks like Shen Sheni coming out on top in yet another frame. And especially since Zhao Ruliang had a visit to the table. And that's 4th point on the board for Shen Sheni. He's 4-1 up against Zhao Ruliang, and it will be Zhao Ruliang to break in the next frame.
第6局，赵汝亮开球。10秒，延时。 10秒。10秒。
Far from easy this year for Zhao Ruliang.
5、4、3。
Looks good. It's not there. Would have had the position on the 12 next. And just slightly off his game at the moment. Ever so slightly. I say that because these past few days he's been performing. He's been overperforming. Destroying every opponent who got in his way. This is table back over to Shen Yi now. Extremely early stages in the match, this being a race to 33 frames.
延时。
I would say it definitely does make a difference if you are quite a bit ahead, at least when we get to the halfway stage of this match. We take that 4-hour intermission at 2 p.m. local time.
10秒。5、4。
Clever shot, and I don't think the 12 pots anyway is going to be looking if it goes to the top straight away. But even from there, that is very, very tough. Usually we see the split sessions in snooker World Championship and the like. You get that where they split the sessions up. So one of the first times I've seen that here. I think we only had it for the final last year, and even that, the second session was a very quick one. It wasn't a full split session.
5、4。
That could actually go. He caught that a bit thick. That means that was potable to the top left. And crazy things can happen after that intermission. A player who was down can come back and really start dominating the evening session and turn the entire game around. So I'm keen to see what the scoreline will be when we go into there and what happens when we come back. At the moment in the session, the very outset, does look like Shen Yi just slightly on top of Zhao Ruliang at the moment. Just getting the better of him. As far as I know, the intermission will be at 2 p.m. no matter how many frames are played. All matches will stop at that time. Because when we come back for the 6 p.m. session later on, then we will play to the end. Just wide coming off that right side cushion, which means ball in hand here for Shen Shenyi. Yet another very good chance for him to get his 5th point. That would mean he's 4 ahead of Zhao Ruliang. I'd say best of 65, we're looking at going above 20 frames played for this session, at least. We are already closing in on about 1 hour of playtime, around 46 minutes at the moment. Table 3 should be on a break at the moment. That Zhang Tai up 5-3 on Dai Yong after 8 frames played. Table 7, Zhang Kumpeng 3-2 up against Gareth Potts. And table 9, Zheng Zhaohai 5-3 up against Wu Jianyu. So if you look at that, 8 frames played in 46 minutes, they are going to be averaging around 10 frames played in 1 hour. So 3 hours could be 30 frames, just under. So very likely that we should be done by around 9 p.m. tonight, 10 p.m. I'd say latest. That's local time here in China.
10秒。
Didn't need to go into the 6 and the 8 because the 6 pots from the short side into the right center pocket here. And again, the cue ball control to get that absolutely perfect. And this for his 5th point, and to go 5-1 up after 6 frames played here. And it's there. I expected him to smash that in, but cued it in nicely. 5-1 up goes Chen Shenyi, and he will be breaking in the next frame as well.
老鹰交边，乔氏官方合作伙伴，冠军品质，成就梦想。全球每100张高端台球桌就有1张搭配老鹰胶条。通过高分子纳米配方，我们让橡胶拉伸强度提升40%，回弹误差0.03毫米。每一道工序全程数控化，每条胶边都需要经历严苛的平整度检测，确保每延米承载10万次冲击不变形。 顶级赛事官方认可，精准回弹，每一次撞击释放力量本真，卓越表现。
第7局，沈申毅开球。
6 frames played, score 5-1 to Shen Shenyi. 7th frame now, it's his break. He did win the leg, so all the odd numbered frames will have him breaking. Which means if it does go to a deciding frame, it will be his break. But can you imagine how evenly matched the players have to be for it to go to a deciding frame in a race to 33? And that is right, Shen Shenyi at the table. He's the player that knocked out Chu Bingxie. That was yesterday morning, 19-13. And in that round, quite a few of the top favorites got knocked out. We had Phone getting knocked out by Dennis, Tang Shunshao getting knocked out as well. Also young Liu Yule, a 13-year-old from China. Many people expected him to go much further in this tournament because of the way he was playing, and also players under the age of 14 and female players get a one-ball handicap when playing against male athletes. But even without the handicap, he was unreal, potting from absolutely anywhere. And then he went up against Zheng Zhaohai yesterday morning. An unstoppable force. Then we had Zheng Zhaohai on the TV table last night against Yang Fan. And you saw why. You saw why he's here. 19-1 over Yang Fan on the TV table. Never seen a scoreline like that at this stage in the tournament. And although I say that, at the moment here 5-1, it's a little bit worrying for Zhao Ruliang. Hasn't settled yet. He's got a frame on the board, but he's not really in this match at the moment. Absolutely brilliant at the moment from Shen Qianyi. This is how he's been playing, ever so consistent throughout this tournament. That's another point on the board. It is 6-1 now to Shen Qianyi with another one visit clearance and another break and run for him. Look, I do believe you can always make a comeback, and I'm sure a player like Zhao Ruliang can. But the problem is with that is, as it was mentioned on the stream yesterday, the Yang Fan match, two things have to happen if you go way down. You have to start playing great, and your opponent has to start running into problems. Now Shen Qianyi, he doesn't look like he's running into any problems. Very difficult to come back in a match like this alternate break format if your opponent is playing excellent. The 13. No. This is getting dangerous. I know it's a very long way to go. But this is getting dangerous. To go 7-1 down after 8 frames played, it's not a place you want to be in. the breaks are not letting him find his rhythm here. Because these players rely highly on that. They break so well most of the time that they're guaranteed that they're going to be making a clearance or be at the table.
10秒。
So even if your opponent is flying, it gives you a chance to get into rhythm, find your stroke. It would be a nice statistic to have on screen, but I don't think we do, but you can guesstimate it. If you look at the moment now, this is the 8th frame played. After this, if you look at balls potted so far in the match. So Zhao Liang, he's got 1 frame on the board, which means he's potted,
10秒。
I would say, a minimum of 7 to 8 balls, depending on if one fell on the break. And his opponent with 6 on the board potted almost 6 times the amount. He spent so much more time at the table. And Shen Sheni, just 21 years of age. He doesn't look 21, I'll tell you that. Now this camera angle making this ball look a lot easier than it is. If you'd have looked from the above camera angle from this, you would have seen how tough that was. Very tough angle into the center pockets. Seen that ball miss so many times. Inside jaw, outside jaw. Played perfectly into that gap. And the so far is off Zhao Liang's dry break. Now here to go around the back of the black ball, you'd want to play this with a touch of inside English. But bridging like that, so it automatically means that if you put inside on this, you're swerving the cue ball. Straight away it starts to swerve. Also very difficult to get any stun on it to straight line past the black ball here. This is more tricky than it needed to be, and you can see he's indecisive about the shot choice here. Now look at that. Potting that ball naturally, no problem at all for him. But once you start adding a touch aside on the nap cloth with these balls, immediately the cue ball starts turning, especially with the raised bridge. What was a 10 out of 10 shot played naturally becomes, I'd say maybe a 1 out of 20.
延时。
And Yeah, I was going to say it's a good leave. It's put pressure on Zhao Ruliang, and he's missed the 7 to the center pocket. And this might be jump cue here. It is jump cue out for Shen Shenyi. Now this is the 8th frame. We will have a player break after this. That looks like a Fury jumper. As far as I know, Shen Shenyi also a Fury sponsored player. It looks okay. Black ball available to the center pocket. Now the previous shot that he missed, I said the way he had to play that, 1 out of 20. This shot here, the jump, believe it or not, that should give him most probably 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 chance to pot that. This looks like it's not going to the center. It looks like it's going to the corner here. And it's there. And it's there. That pocket is taking nicely. Shen Shenyi, 7th point on the board. It's 7-1 after 8 frames played. We'll be back in just under 10 minutes.
乔氏金腿比赛专用，提醒您，精彩比赛马上开始。
俺老孙啥功名不要，只求回到这花果山中了，过过逍遥日子。
天要求干，化一切为可能。超级蓝钻皮头职业版，采用进口头层水牛皮，韧性好，弹性持久，颗颗精选，粒粒碾压，严格质检，世界职业球员必用的皮头，超级蓝钻，祝您夺冠。
罂粟胶边具有国内胶边很难做到的特点，罂粟胶边的硬度达到了45度，使反射角高度接近入射角。罂粟整条胶边误差小于20丝，因而各部位酷性一致。欢迎各品牌厂家使用罂粟胶边来提升台球桌的专业性能。好胶边罂粟皂，好胶边罂粟皂。
超级蓝钻皮头，黄金版、白金版，采用进口头层水牛皮，颗颗精选，严格质检，韧性好，弹性持久，世界职业球员必用的皮头，超级蓝钻，艺专业，缔造不凡。
一点是聚焦、沉淀，一线是专注、艺术，一面是缜密、智慧，方寸间雕刻，毫厘间镶嵌。成木质之美，雕琢洞天；与腾龙之势，巧思匠心。以点线面，以小线大，步步为营，丝丝入扣，毫厘间不失方寸，握度间尽长天地。龙晕而起，潮流之势，包罗万象。读蜘蛛，匠心之作。
今天给大家推荐一款非常好的台泥 H153，是我自己用了1年多的台泥，汗毛量80%，手感特别细腻，走位很平稳。根据我自己用了1年多的这个台泥，这个 H153特别适合我们球房用，一些中小型比赛也特别适合它用。如果你的球房想用一款非常好的台泥，我推荐 H153。
H153走球更到位。
翘课我选布洛克。
And we are back after the player break, and there we have some statistics. Important one, 75% rate of pocketing a ball on the break. Errors as well. We have Shen Chini with 3, Zhao Ruliang with 4, fouls 1 on Zhao Ruliang's side. And just the 4 one-visit clearances here, 2 break and runs for Shen Chini, 1 rack and run for him as well, and 1 rack and run for Zhao Ruliang. After 8 frames played, the score is 7-1 in favor of Shen Chini. Still very early here, race to 33, split into 2 sessions. We have been playing for just over an hour now. So about another 2 hours to go in the session. So they've played 8 frames in an hour. That is around the average. So you're looking at just over 20 frames played then in this first session, and then we'll come back at 6 p.m. local time to finish off the match. If we look at some of the score lines from the other tables, Table 3, Zhang Tai 6-4 up on Da Yong after 10 frames. Table 7, Zhang Kumpang 5-3 up against Gareth Potts. Table 9, Zheng Zhaohai 7-4 up against Wu Jinyu. Now, when I first saw a race to 33, 37, and 39, I was wondering, how are we going to finish that in a day? How's it possible? You're going to need about 12, 13 hours, possibly. But then, the reason for that is when you come to this stage of the tournament, firstly, the clearance rate is so high, the one-visit clearance rate, and that means it's a quick frame. You're looking at an average then of about 5 to 6 minutes for a frame. And also the level at which these players play at, they are not missing balls often. That's why we are able to still have these long races and finish in quicker time than you'd actually think here. That's the break from Shen Sheni. Now back, 9th frame. You see the 3 ball. Took its time to go in there, just wiggled in that pocket and in. But the main thing is, at the moment, as you saw the stats, he's got a better rate of potting a ball on the break, 75%. That would go up now with that. Zhao Ruliang just 25%, and also has more missed balls and more errors at the tables. I did say earlier that in the last, or this stage at least, I've never seen Zhao Ruliang down in a match. He's always been ahead, always been in control. So not only is it the first time I've seen him down, but down by this much. Now the break rule here is just 4 balls need to make contact with the cushion. You would know previously that 4 balls needed to cross the balk line, or it needed to be a 4-point break. So either 4 balls cross or 3 balls cross, 1 ball in, and so on. But the rule has changed as of, I believe it's a 2025 revision of the rule set, which came out mid last year. Also enforcing the rule where we use the triangle rack instead of the template rack. It was becoming too consistent for especially the top players with the magic rack. They were potting a ball in the center pocket at least 90% of the time, and the cue ball would land in the center of the table after going off 3 cushions, all planned. That's another miss from Shen Sheni. Did not expect that. He was playing for the position on the 5. All eyes were on that 5 ball, getting on the 5 so he could remove the 7. Just took his eye off that 6 ball. Yeah, so once again, a legal break here. You just have to get 4 balls making contact with the cushion, that's all. So pretty much a soft break is legal, in other words. Exactly right. That's why the 4 balls across the headstring rule was made, because players were soft breaking and just trickling a ball in and then running the rack out. Now, there are some players that use a softer break, even using the triangle rack. You'll see Chu Bingji try it. The player who started with that was Sun Yan, one of the Chinese players. He's actually come second in one of the Masters events to Chu Bingji. That was the Baotao station last year. And he actually got his way through stage 3 by having so many break and runs by virtue of that softer break. He was breaking the pack so soft that the ball heading into the center pocket was just dropping in. A fully open table, nothing on the cushions, and just running the rack out. But of recent, you see, most of the Chinese players, at least, they are using the much more powerful break. Very similar to what you see when Zhao Ruliang is at the table, or Wang Senhua. And no, we don't see super soft safety breaks. We don't see that here. I've actually never seen that played here. Now, if you have just joined us, the first question I have for you is, where have you been for the last 14 days? This is day 15 of this tournament. And you are late to the party, but you are here nonetheless. And we are at the last 8 now in this tournament. It is single elimination, straight knockout from 64 down to 1. With just 8 players remaining. 1 international player amongst 7 Chinese players, and that international player, none other than Gareth Potts. He's in action at the moment. He is on table 7. He's up against Zhang Kumpang. Scoreline there, 6-4 to Kumpang at the moment. That is table 7. Zhang Kumpang, 4 rack and runs out of his 6 points. Gareth Potts, 1 break and run, 2 rack and runs. Now Potts is down, but he was down yesterday morning on the TV table, down last night as well. Managed to make a comeback, and I believe he won both those matches 19-17. He's had some rough matches. The previous day he went up against Mick Hill. That went to a thrilling deciding frame, and he won that 17-16. So he's had to work for these wins, has Gareth Potts. Now him and Zhang Kumpang know each other quite well, good friends off the table also. And if you are looking to watch any of those other tables, head over to wpalive.tv, where you'll be able to catch all the action from the other tables. Since the beginning of this main stage of the tournament, we've had every match live there. Now Zhao Liang at the table. He's looking to get his second point on the board here. It's been one-way traffic, almost all of that first 8-frame session that we had for Shen Shenyi. Look, he's also the kind of player that can close this gap very quickly and put the pressure on his opponent. 1 or 2 good finishes, and the entire dynamic of this match can change. At the moment, he hasn't applied any pressure to Shen Shenyi. He's just let Shen Shenyi run here and flow. He's not right behind this black ball, but he's on it nonetheless. And this to get his second point on the board here. And it's there, no mistake there from Zhao Liang. He gets his second point on the board, and you can hear the applause here. A lot of Zhao Liang fans in the arena at the moment. The score is 7-2 in favor of Shen Shenyi.
第10局，赵汝亮开球。
Now the breaks have got to start working for him as well. They've been letting him down so far. Lots of power in that. The 12 almost into the center, but I don't see anything else. The 2 almost. I think they've been almost all dry breaks except for 1 from Zhao Ruliang. At this stage, that just opens the door for your opponent.
10秒。延时。
Stripes in play. He's played that to get short side of the 13 to the top left. And I think he can just pass the 1 ball without having to bridge that awkwardly. After this, the awkward ball on the table is the 14 here on the right side, just next to the 5 ball. Tester to take on now. Gotta feel this is the kind of shot, if it goes, the frame's his. No, just wide. And at 7-2 up, he can afford that. Zhao Ruliang back to the table after his break. Next frame will be Shenshin need to break. Now can Zhao Ruliang steal another frame here? Trying to make his way back from 7-1 down, now 7-2. This could be 7-3 if he makes the most out of this opportunity. But the pot and the 3 ball is not there. Would have never expected him to not get that one. I see that on table 7, Gareth has given away ball in hand to Zhang Kompang. The score there is 6-4 in favor of Zhang Kompang.
10秒。5、4。
As the referee counting down from 5. Didn't take his extension there. And talking about referee counting down from 5, I have to admit I do miss having phone mint on the TV table. One of those players that play when the referee's at 1. So what happens here, you have 45 seconds per shot. The referee calls 10 seconds after 35 seconds and then starts counting down from 5. And phone so often in a match, he plays on 1. To be honest, I think that's a bit of a tactic. Because you sat in that chair and you're wondering what is going on with him. Is he going to make the shot in time? And he'll always do that at crunch time. Unfortunately for him, it didn't work against Dennis Okolo. They're too familiar with each other. They play too many times. They've played so many matches with each other. Besides competition matches. Non-friendly matches. If you get what I'm saying. Nicely onto the 1, which leaves him on this black ball. Perfect play from Shen Shini once again. That missed 3 ball from Zhao Ruliang, top left corner. It looks like it's going to cost him another point here. And that's 8 points on the board for Shen Shini. After 10 frames played, he's 8-2 up, and it's going to be his break next as well. So if we are playing according to the schedule, and if I've understood the schedule correctly, which I hope I have, we have reached the midpoint of this first session of this match. 1.5 hours played out of this 3-hour session and 10 frames gone. So I said we were looking at about reaching 20 frames, between 20 and 25.
10秒。延时。
Oh, I see a comment saying, "What's the ref saying to the players?" Yeah, she's counting down, or she's but she's saying it in Chinese. Yeah. So she calls 10 seconds in Chinese, 10秒, and then when the player says extension, that's 延时. And then she counts down from 5 as well. Look, as far as I know, with the racking of the balls here, as the rules would state, it actually says they should be as random as they can be, with the 2 corner balls being different groupings and the black ball in the center, of course. But I mean, when we're racking it, we rack it close to almost like how you rack an English pool. But as far as the official rules state, that's what it says. 2 corner balls of different grouping and the rest as random as they can be. Now, Shen Shenyi has never won this championship, and as far as the stats I have, he hasn't won one of the smaller tournaments, the Master Station events as well. He was runner-up the Tianjin Super Tour. He was top 16 in both the last events in Nanning, which was quite recently, 2 or 3 months ago. So he's right there. He's knocking on the door. He's part of Joy's dream team, and at only 21 years of age, he has such a bright future ahead of him. The form he's in here is unbelievable, but it was a matter of time, because he's always been there. He's always been right there, and this could be his time. And that's another point on the board for Shen Shenyi. He just keeps going, doesn't stop here. Absolutely wonderful stuff from Shen Shenyi over Zhao Liang. There we go, the score is 9-2. 3 break and runs for Shen Shenyi, including that last one, 1 rack and run each. That's 11 frames played. It will be Zhao Liang to break in the 12th frame. He's 7 points behind. And I think now you see why it's not a race to 19 or 21, because to avoid something like last night, because we are now down to the last 8 players here. I mean, this is quarterfinals, and the prize money also increases quite a lot now. That's the reason we've extended the race from 19 to 33. Usually this tournament at this stage is double elimination. So because it's straight knockout single, that is the reason for the jump. This time he makes a ball. 2 ball also here down the bottom right corner. That's extension call for Zhao Liang. Adds another 30 seconds to his 45-second shot clock. Yeah, and a lot of people are saying that Zhao Liang is out or something like that. No, not a chance. He definitely has another gear. It's been in situations like this countless of times. You have to know when you are fully in tune with what you know you can do at the table and the work you've put in, it's not really going to bother you that much. 9-2 down, race to 33. You know, all you have to do is apply some pressure. And then you can see what your opponent's made of. Nice. Very nice on that one ball. Gets a round of applause as well. Zhao Liang, a multiple Joy Masters Station event winner. Many times run up in those events as well, so he's always there. Runner up in this event to Chu Bingjie 2 years ago, and he won this event, the event that was held during COVID times. Now you'd have seen a play on the TV table 3 days ago, Zhao Jianbo, when he beat Liu Haitao on the TV table. Zhao Liang is the player that knocked him out of the last 64, 17 frames to 4. I remember we were watching the score lines there while there was another match live. The scoreline was ridiculous, was like 8-0, 9-0. And then Zhao Jianbo started to make his comeback slightly. He also took out Sina Valizedo 19-6. And then in the previous round, took out Hu He Hong from China 19-14. That's the player that took out Niu Zhang yesterday morning. And this is how quick this player at the table can make a run out as well. And it's their third point on the board with a rack and run of his own. Nice to see Zhao Liang back at the table here.
我在给胜利者沙发拍广告，他们要求我这样，这样，这样，但我却想这样。真正好品质，经得起推敲。胜利者高端台球沙发。
第13局，沈申毅开球。
Now the score is 9-3, Shen Shenyi to break. That's 2 consecutive break and runs at the moment, 1 from each player in the last 2 frames. This is what we tend to see come mid-session or after the initial phase of the match.
延时。10秒。
And still ever so consistent and flawless at the moment is Shenshini at the table. That was not the easiest finish. He's looking like he's going to be first to double digits here. 10th frame on the board for Shenshini. 10-3 up now against Zhao Ruliang in this race to 33. Yeah, the control after that and the position needed as well. Cue ball into the 4 and back out. Shenshini with 4 break and runs now, 1 rack and run. Zhao Ruliang with the 1 break and run and 1 rack and run. Score from table 3 sees Zhang Tai and Dai Yong 8 each at the moment. Dai Yong 3 break and runs, 3 rack and runs. Zhang Tai 2 break and runs and 3 rack and runs. That is a very close scoreline. Did not expect that. Table 7, Zhang Kumpang 8-6 up on Gareth Potts. And table 9, Zheng Zhaohai 9-7 up on Wu Zhenyu. Very nice break this time from Zhao Ruliang. Now 3 consecutive break and runs at the moment in the last 3 frames.
10秒，延时。
It was a tough opening shot for Zhao Ruliang, but it's there. And now stripes in play here.
10秒。
And yes, the numbers in the middle of the score does say 65. That's best out of 65 frames, race to 33. This is the last 8. When we get to the last 4 tomorrow, that'll be a race to 37. And the final on the 31st of March will be a race to 39 frames. But actually not that bad divided into 2 sessions. So we play a morning session and an evening session, which will start at 6 p.m. later tonight. According to the schedule, this session should be ending in about 1 hour, 10 minutes time. So I've allocated 3 hours for the first session and about 4 hours for the second session. That's not what he wanted. He didn't want to come from behind the black ball and for the cue ball to stick there. Not only has he pushed the black ball into a not pottable position into the bottom right, he's left a tough pot here with the cue ball being that close to the cushion. Good recovery. Now for this, he's going to have to come short side of the black ball. It's a little bit high. Can hear applause from another table, which means there has been a good finish or a run out on one of the outside tables here. Yeah, good black ball from Zhao Ruliang. He gets his 4th point on the board.
第14局赵如亮胜，比分4比10，开球清台。谢谢。
4 consecutive break-in runs here at the moment. So there we have it. Chen Xianyi 10-4 up, 4 break-in runs against Zhao Ruliang's 2 break-in runs, 1 rack-in run each. Last 4 frames have all been break-in runs. This is when things start to really move quickly here.
第15局沈申毅开球。
And the applause we heard in the background, that must have been from table 7, Zhang Kumpeng. He's now 9-7 up against Gareth Potts. And that is our first dry break in 4 frames. See the 10 heading for the center. That's the ball that's supposed to go in.
10秒，延时。
Yeah, what a shot that is. What a positional shot that is. And this is how quickly the scoreline can change here. Things were looking quite bad for him. All of a sudden it's 10-4. This off his opponent's dry break. He gets this as 10-5. He's breaking next. If he continues with his break and runs, it's 10-6. Usually in these long races, it should favor the better player. Most of the time it will favor the better player. You can't hide in a long race. It's a marathon. The luck will run out. Getting a good roll will run out as well. The only thing that's going to be able to carry you to that finish line is your skill and your ability. There's a very good point made on the stream yesterday about the mental aspect about this game when we saw Yang Fan down. I think we would have started that conversation when he was down about 15-1 in that race to 19. It's tough being sat in that chair, and especially when you are down and by quite a margin. I think the margin here was at least 8-1. Tougher still to get back to the table and perform at your highest level. And that's one thing that this man can do. So don't let the scoreline fool you. This is far from over. The position is okay. He raises his hand there. Just a touch lucky coming into the black ball. And this so far is off Shen Sheni's dry break. And this for a clearance off his opponent's break. It's there, rack and run for Zhao Ruliang. He gets his 5th point, and now just 5 away from his opponent. Scoreline looking a lot different.
当热爱遇上奥斯本兹，精研工艺，邂逅上乘材质，匠心独具，诠释卓越性能，尽显非凡魅力。每一次击球都能感受到力量与技巧的和谐共鸣。 每一次挥杆都是精准操控与职业打感完美契合。手握奥斯本兹酒杆，为热爱全力以赴，注重打感，选奥斯本兹。
第16局，赵如亮开球。
Scored 10-5 to Shen Sheni. Zhao Ruliang to break now. And he's been breaking much better. He's also put 2 break-in runs on the board and 2 rack-in runs. So he's got 4 one-visit clearances out of 5 points. Starting to come back here. This the 16th frame. We will have a player break of 10 minutes after this. 3 balls not there, but he makes a ball here, bottom corner. Notice that he's a player that doesn't like using a glove to play, but uses the glove to break. Also uses the loop bridge. Although we haven't seen some prolonged safety battles in this match thus far, these players definitely do have safety battles. It all depends on the layout and if it's there or if they get tied up, you will see a few safety battles, but it's a very attacking game and these players play a very attacking style as well. So it's rare to see, I would say, frames over 15 to 20 minutes where there's a lot of back and forth. This is a big clearance for him to make here. Very big. He gets this, it means momentum is with him and he's right back there in the match. And also what you saw on the TV table yesterday when Yang Fan lost 19-1 to Zheng Zhaohai, that is something you hardly ever see at this level. Because at this level you can never count anyone out. Even here being 9-1 down or 8-1 down, you can't. Can never call these matches. These players are so evenly matched. It comes down to who's playing a little bit better on the day or who's mentally tougher. Good pot that. And it looks like the momentum well and truly with Zhao Ruliang at the moment. this would be his third consecutive break and run, although it's alternate break. But when he's come to the table to break, this would be his third one in a row. And it's there, 6 point is there for Zhao Ruliang, and another break and run. As we come to 16 frames played, the score is 10-6 in favor of Shen Xinyi. We'll be back in just under 10 minutes.
立百文台泥，高档羊毛皂，一线赛事指定台泥，丁俊晖、奥沙利文、郑宇博、楚秉杰等国内外一线球星代言，立百文全球销量第一。一点是聚焦、沉淀。 一线是专注、艺术；一面是缜密、智慧。方寸间雕刻，毫厘间镶嵌。成木质之美，雕琢洞天；遇腾龙之势，巧思匠心。以点线面。 以小现大，步步为营，丝丝入扣，毫厘间不失方寸，握度间尽长天地。龙晕而起，潮流之势，包罗万象。独蜘蛛，匠心之作。
我是代言人郑伟国。 星星暴走，年轻自由。我是代言人雨龙海，星星暴走，年轻自由。
我是代言人楚秉杰，星星暴走，年轻自由。
Born in Louisiana. My mama told my papa our little boy has got the blues. You better watch what you do to me. Watch what you do to me. That's for no question.
冠军500万乔氏大师赛官方供应商，正红胶边均匀回弹，铸就一流打感，持续助力中式台球职业化联赛，制造好球桌，胶边选正红。
俺老孙啥功名不要。 只求回到这花果山中了，过过逍遥日子。
天要球杆，化一切为可能。
中式八球，俗称黑八，是一项原创于中国的运动，在乔氏的推动下。 已走进全球96个国家。乔氏中式八球，风靡全球的中国运动。
罂粟胶边具有国内胶边很难做到的特点， 音速交边的硬度达到了45度，使反射角高度接近入射角。音速整条交边误差小于20丝，因而各部位酷性一致。欢迎各品牌厂家使用音速交边来提升台球桌的专业性能。好交边音速造，好交边音速造。
And now having a look at some of those stats, 10-6 after 16 frames in this race to 33, 4 break-and runs for Shen, 3 break-and runs for Zhao Ruliang. Got 5 errors each, 1 foul for Zhao Ruliang, and see the percentage of potting a ball on the break, that's come up from 25% now to 50% for Zhao Ruliang. Shen Shini still sitting at 75%. This is the last 8 as we go down to 4 players, and you can see there's quite a bit of people in the stadium today watching the other matches on at the moment. Some big matches. On table 3, we have Dai Yong against Zhang Tai on at the moment. Let's just update the score and see what that is. Dai Yong is leading 10 frames to 9. Look, if Dai Yong takes out Zhang Tai, he becomes a huge favorite to take this tournament. Huge favorite. Table 7, Zhang Kumpang now 10-8 up against Gareth Potts. And table 9, Zheng Zhaohai 10-9 up against Wu Zhenyu. So all the matches are happening in that bank of tables that you can see on your screen, on the right side of your screen. Those matches should be separated by around 2 tables. So you'd have 2 free tables, then a match, 2 free tables, then a match. I do expect when we come to the last 4, at least the final, we will have a packed arena here for that one. If you are wondering why there aren't more people here, these matches are very big on social media, so everybody is tuned into the streams at home. It is 1 p.m. here in China. I have seen the stats. You're looking at over 100,000 views on one of these streams. Now, not only is that per table, what happens here is there are multiple streamers streaming one game. And on those individual streams, you're looking at over 100,000 people watching. Now you can see this is a timeout of 10 minutes and 8 minutes 21 seconds gone. If Shen Shini is not back before 10 minutes, he'll give away a frame. We saw that yesterday. That was Bo Junjie from China against Gareth Potts, who came back about 20 seconds too late and he forfeited a frame. That rule is enforced quite strictly here, as it should be. So he's got just over 1 minute to return to the table. And there he is. He should make it in time. Now with just over 30 seconds remaining for him in that player break. Now the first session here, time was allocated at 3 hours for the session. So that would mean we have 45 minutes left of this two-part match. Session 2 would begin at 6 p.m. local time here in China tonight, as this is a race to 33 to get into the semi-finals. That's the reason we have two sessions, a very long race now. Score 10-6, Shen Shini to break. Or cue ball almost into the center pocket and nothing in. That's his second dry break now in the last two frames. And just 8 frames ago, the scoreline looked very different in favor of Shen Shini. He was way up here, wasn't looking good for Zhao Liang, and all of a sudden, he's 4 frames away. Chance to take another point with his break next. From 10-6, this good code to 10-8. Another player that if he wins his match at the moment, I put him as a massive favorite to take this tournament. And that's purely because of how he's playing at the moment as well, but also because he's won this tournament before and he's won it 3 times. That's Gareth Potts. If he can take out Zhang Kumpang, I put him as a massive favorite to win this. Him and Dai Yong, those are the players to watch out for if they win. It's quite unfortunate that we have these two playing each other now. This would have been well worthy of a final match between these two. And unfortunately, only one of them is going to progress after this. Yeah, realizing there was nothing much on for him and too much work on the table. Tactical play from Zhao Liang there. The bank's not there on the 1 ball, and what has he left? After the previous shot from Zhao Liang, he opened up the stripes a bit better, the top right of the table. If he can't get through to the 13 cleanly, he might be looking at 12 onto 13. And if not, maybe another tactical shot here, which it is. Not the best end result for the 13-15 though. He's pushed the 13 back to a place where it doesn't look like it pots. Score on table 3 after 20 frames. It's 10 all between Dai Yong and Chang Tai. Table 7, Zhang Kumpang 10-8 up on Gareth Potts. And on table 9, Jing Zhaohai 11-9 up on Wu Jianyu. So with Zhao Liang coming back in this match now, it's all the score lines quite tight across the board here. Once again, free the 13. Or at least make that, which is now possible. Yeah, the plant goes now. And again, an excellent cue ball from Zhao Liang here to not leave anything for Shen Shenyi. What he has done, he's stopped the momentum that Shen had. He's definitely stopped that. Legal shot, but he's tied up the 3 ball, and things are a bit more open on stripes, especially if he can get to that 15-13 at the top end of the table. Gets it, and he should be good to go here. I see that Gareth Potts has got another frame on the board now, just down by 1. Score 10-9 in favor of Zhang Kumpang. And definitely you are looking at a possible 6 to 7 hours of play here for these players at the table. First session 3 hours, next session should be around 4 hours, depending on the scoreline here. And of course, depending on the margin in scores between these players at the end of the match. As you saw yesterday with a race to 19, the score 19-1, that can take under 2 hours. And of course, if it goes 19-18, that could take around 4.5 to 5 hours. That was tough. And what a decent roll he's had. He raises the hand there. That was not played for, but an excellent roll. Things working in his favor now. That's the pool gods at work. Those few dry breaks from Shen Sheni and I think one missed pot earlier in the match. And this is what happens. Your opponent comes right back at you. Their break gets better, yours gets worse. And the scoreline starts to change very quickly. Played perfectly for the gap between 5 and 1 here. With just a slight angle to just keep the cue ball on the left side of the table here to play the black ball down to the bottom right corner. Now this frame got a little bit tactical and it was off Shen Shini's break, so it means that Zhao Ruliang will be breaking in the next frame here. He's going to be pushing to get the scoreline even or even take the lead before we go into that 4-hour intermission here. And it's their 7th point on the board for Zhao Ruliang. He's now just 10-7 behind. He's back in this match and he's just 3 down and it's his break next. And the glove goes on for Zhao Ruliang. Predator BK rush. It's been working very well for him these last few frames. He's on 3 consecutive break and runs at the moment. This time, nothing there. 11 ball, very close to going in here. Almost makes the 12 also at the top. Now it's up to Shen to stop this momentum that Zhao Ruliang is coming with. Table 3, Zhang Tei has taken the lead, 11-10 up on Dai Yong. Zhang Kumpeng has extended his lead, 11-9 up on Gareth Potts in Table 7. And Table 9, Zheng Zhaohai, 13-9 over Wu Jinyu. Zheng Zhaohai with 10 one-visit clearances, 4 break and runs, 6 rack and runs. All those matches are live on WPALive.tv. Would have never expected that one from Shen. Not a ball like that. Big frame here, the dry break from Zhao Ruliang. And he might be able to hold it. Now with half an hour left in the session, I'm keen to see if we stop on time. Of course, after the frame that's being played. When we get to 2 p.m. local time here. I think we are going to reach around 20 frames or just over 20 frames played. Which means we will be in for quite a long session this evening then. The safety looked good from Zhao Liang pushing the 7 to the side cushion here, but straight away Shen's taken it out, and with a slight angle on the 2, there's a possibility to even move the 6 into a better position. He does that, he's gone. And that 6 ball, I was going to say taken care of, but he's pushed it past the center pocket. Black ball tied up. Oh, both of them go in. He was trying to get the cue ball coming close to the 6 ball there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and now he's committed to this clearance. He has to double this. It's the only way. He has to bank it. It's not there. Although things are awkward here, Zhao Liang having more balls on the table straight away becomes the favorite to take this frame. I'm a bit surprised by that. Look, it's a percentage play. He's left the 6 open, available to pot, which I don't put past Shen Chini. And if he gets a decent position to pot the long 7, cue ball coming off the right cushion into the black ball, there's a chance here. This can be dangerous. The 6 is there. And look at the angle he's going to have on the 7 ball. This could be a massive frame. It is a percentage play from Zhao Ruliang. This is not easy. The pot first, then to open the black ball and to land on the black ball. The pot's good. The black ball is open. What a shot that is. That is a fantastic shot from Shen Shenyi. Yeah, at this level, very risky to give away the table and leave your opponent an open shot. Very risky. Because this is what they can do. Look, this is still not easy. He has to come past the 11 ball there with the rest. And he's just past it. And it's on the board. Brilliant from Shen Shenyi. It should be his 11th point on the board, so score 11-7 now after 18 frames.
I was born in Louisiana. My mama told my papa, our little boy has got the blues. You better watch what you do to me. Watch what you do to me.
深深一开球。
I feel that was a big one. That was a big one for Shen Shenyi. And a big one for Zhao Ruliang to give up. And there, all of a sudden, the break is there as well for Shen.
10秒。5延时。
Not an easy table here for Shen Shenyi, although he's potted a ball on the break. The 9's not there. So open table over to Zhao Ruliang now. This the 19th frame here. Out of a best of 65 frames, race to 33. Table 3, we've got Da Yong up on Zhang Tai, 12-11. Zhang Kompeng 13-9 now against Gareth Potts. Now Gareth has stuck with him for most of the match until now. Kang Peng pulls away by 4 points, and on table 9, Zheng Zhaohai 13-10 up on Wu Jianyu. all the matches are close, and that's what we expect, especially at this stage in the tournament. And also with the alternate break format, can't have one of the players running 5 racks in a row and getting 5 frames ahead like that.
1号球贴库。
So referee calls that the 1 ball is frozen to the cushion. Now why that matters is that the cue ball then needs to make contact after making contact with the 1 ball. The cue ball needs to make contact with the cushion. And also now cue ball touching the 2 ball here. So another tactical frame here, and still an open table, multiple visits. Now things are slightly open here. I mean, the 3 does go. If you want to take the solids, the 9 can go off the 1 into the center or directly. Shenshini did not get the cue ball he wanted with that. We've seen Zhao Ruliang having a look at whether the 1 does pass the 10. That's 6 ball out. Now does the 1 go into the center pocket from where it is now? Look, it's just off that side cushion. You know, in the case of slow and negative play, if there is no positive movement in the frame and it's just there's nothing happening or nothing going forward, then, as I said, slow and negative play, referee's discretion, and she'll consult with the players. That can be a re-rack here. Much better from Zhao Ruliang now, and that 1 looks like it does go into the center pocket as well. That was a loose safety shot from Shen Shini earlier. Very likely 8th point loading here for Zhao. Table 7, Zhang Kumpeng and Gareth Potts have played 24 frames. They are on that player break of 10 minutes. Score is 14-10 to Zhang Kumpeng. And very strange, Kumpeng has no break and runs, which means his break has been letting him down a lot. But he's got 9 rack and runs. So those are clearances off his opponent's break. Gareth with 3 break and runs and 5 rack and runs out of his 10 points. Gareth Potts, the last international player left standing here. And it's their 8th point on the board for Zhao Ruliang. He's 11-8 down to Shen Sheni. Now 11-8 down, Zhao Ruliang to break here. He's now within 3. I believe the scoreline was 7-1 or 8-1 at some time in this match. He's brought it right back and makes a ball, but unfortunately cue ball into the top right. That is very unfortunate. With a break like that, look at this. The amount of power in that. Now you know why these players have such a high run-out rate. When you can break like that. So ball in hand behind the balk line for Shen Sheni. You have to play forward down table. In this case, there's nothing in balk anyway. Nice control from that to come on the bottom side of those solids and pass the 12. This combination looks good. He has to make it slightly. He's made it. 11 ball in off the 15. if you take the 14 to the center, the option is there with the natural angle to actually go into the 2 and the 10. If you hit them both at the same time, you should be pushing the 10 towards the pocket. But it is a risky shot as well, and you might not end up on the 10, which is why he's deciding against that. As the 10 does go cleanly past the 2 now. That is unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. He's ended up touching ball on the black ball there. What looked like it was going to be a sure finish. Don't think he could have done that much more with that, unfortunately. So in this game, intentional fouls are not allowed. You couldn't have, for instance, tried to tie up the black ball there, play into the black ball. That would be a loss of rack. And you get a warning, and I think the second time you do it, it's a loss of match. And even here, not a good cue ball for Zhao Ruliang. Now, according to the schedule, the session is set to end at 2 p.m. local time. That's in 8 minutes' time. Reason for that is we have 2 sessions here because it's such a long race. Race to 33. Morning session and an evening session. The next session set to start at 6 p.m. local time. If that's going to be stuck to, then this might be the last frame of the session. I expected us to be over 20 frames played. If we look at some of the other matches, yeah, on table 3, Dai Yong and Zhang Tai, 24 frames played. Dai Yong 13-11 up. Even with Gareth's game, Kong Peng 14-10 up there. And Zheng Zhaohai 15-10 up against Wu Zhenyu. Came very close to making that to Chen Zhenyi. Very close from that distance. So 12 ball is a frozen ball against the cushion as well here. Now what is left for Shen Zhenyi? Is there a path for the 14 down to this bottom pocket? I don't think so.
10秒。
Trying to tie up that 12 ball here and at the same time get that cue ball onto the ball cushion. Distance between cue ball and object balls here for Shen Shenyi. Yeah, look at that combination that we have down here. That goes. That's 1-12-4-5. But the way you actually want to hit this, you want to be pushing the 12 out. So it just catches the 4 but goes away. Something like that. So it looks like we have reached the intermission on most of the other matches. Dai Yong 13-11 up against Zhang Tai, table 3. Table 7, Zhang Kompang 14-11 up against Gareth Potts. And on table 9, Zheng Zhouhai 16-10 up on Wu Zhenyu. So after this frame, we will go to that intermission. It will be for 4 hours. The next session will start at 6 p.m. local time here in China. And that will be the final session where we will play the match until completion. Reason for the break is because it's such a long race, you can't expect the players to be playing a race to 33 straight. We do have the time, so we can split it and play the entire session over one day. Or the entire race to 33 over an entire day.
10秒。
This looks good. This looks very good. The shot that is to land on the 7 to the center pocket. And I expected this. I expected the comeback from Zhao Ruliang. Much closer than we thought it'll be. Definitely true. Than most people thought it would be. Just had a slow start, and he can afford that in a race to 33. It's a bit tougher than expected, but it should be there. So this for his 9th point here. And it's there, it's good. After 20 frames played, the score is 11-9 in favor of Shen Shenyi. And that takes us to the intermission now. The referee is just informing the players. So she has just informed the players we will continue in 4 hours' time. And let's have a look at the scores at the moment. So on the TV table, Shen Shenyi 11-9 up on Zhao Ruliang. He was up, I think, 7-1 at one time. On table 3, Dai Yong 13-11 up on Zhang Tai. Table 7, Zhang Kumpeng 14-11 up on Gareth Potts. And on table 9, Zheng Zhaohai 16-10 up against Wu Zhenyu. Now the TV table has Shen Shenyi with 4 break-and runs, 1 rack and run. Zhao Ruliang 3 break-and runs, 2 rack and runs. We've now got more errors for Shen and a better rate of pocketing a ball on the break rate for Zhao Ruliang. So he's coming back. Made quite a comeback to come this far. He's just 2 behind now. We will resume in about 4 hours' time. Hope to see you guys on the stream again. Thank you guys for joining. I'm your commentator for the Joy Heyball events, Raymond Tillack from South Africa. See you guys in just under 4 hours' time.
于中国的运动，在乔氏的推动下，已走进全球96个国家。乔氏中式八球，风靡全球的中国运动。
冠军500万乔氏大师赛官方供应商，正红胶边均匀回弹，铸就一流打感，持续助力中式台球职业化联赛，制造好球桌，胶边选正红。
俺老孙啥功名不要。 只求回到这花果山中了，过逍遥日子。
天耀球杆，化一切为可能。
老鹰胶边，乔氏官方合作伙伴。 冠军品质，成就梦想。全球每100张高端台球桌，就有1张搭配老鹰胶条。通过高分子纳米配方，我们让橡胶拉伸强度提升40%，回弹误差0.03毫米。每一道工序全程数控化，每条胶边都需要经历严苛的平整度检测，确保每延米承载10万次冲击不变形。 顶级赛事官方认可，精准回弹，每一次撞击释放力量本真，卓越表现 只为成就每一位梦想追逐者。鹰击长空，逐梦台坛，老鹰交边，与世界一同飞翔，引领未来，见证荣耀时刻。精准回弹，首选老鹰。
我是代言人郑卫国，星星暴走，年轻自由。我是代言人雨龙海，星星暴走，年轻自由。
我是代言人楚秉杰，星星暴走，年轻自由。
当热爱遇上奥斯本兹，精研工艺，邂逅上乘材质，匠心独具，诠释卓越性能，尽显非凡魅力。每一次击球都能感受到力量与技巧的和谐共鸣，每一次挥杆都是精准操控与职业打感完美契合。手握奥斯本兹酒缸，为热爱全力以赴，注重打感，选奥斯本兹。
一点是聚焦、沉淀，一线是专注、艺术，一面是缜密、智慧，方寸间雕刻，毫厘间镶嵌。成木质之美，雕琢洞天，遇腾龙之势，巧思匠心，以点线面，以小现大，步步为营，丝丝入扣，毫厘间不失方寸，握度间尽长天地。龙跃而起，潮流之势，包罗万象，独蜘蛛，匠心之作。
立百文台泥，高档羊毛皂，一线赛事指定台名：丁俊晖、奥沙利文、郑宇博、楚秉杰等国内外一线球星代言，以百文全球销量第一。超级蓝钻皮头，黄金版、白金版，采用进口头层水牛皮，颗颗精选，严格质检，韧性好，弹性持久，世界职业球员必用的皮头。超级蓝钻，以专业缔造不凡。全乔市是乔市中的乔市，全国各地区球房的典范。一句全乔市代表着球房档次、服务、口碑全部到位，有实力，全乔市。
我在给胜利者沙发拍广告，他们要求我这样，这样，这样，但我却想这样。